Hey y'all, and welcome back to the Sideliners. I'm Lainey.
I'm Annalise.
I'm Sawyer.
And we've got a lot to talk about today. Yeah.
We got some golf, a little bit of college basketball, and NHL trade deadline.
Yep.
Right?
We're going to lightly touch on golf, a little bit of like college basketball rankings because it's not time for tournament yet, and then a lot of NHL trade deadline.
Yes.
Booyah.
Who's excited?
I'm excited.
All right. Cue the music. Starting with golf, we had the Arnold Palmer Invitational this past weekend.
Yep, it was the first pretty big signature event of the PGA Tour.
Mm-hmm.
It's at Bay Hill, which is apparently this weekend it played really hard, which, I mean, it makes sense. It's usually a pretty hard course.
Mm-hmm. I think it's one of my favorites. I think it's so beautiful.
It is a really cool course to watch. There's a lot of history on the back nine with Tiger Woods winning it 9 times. But
I didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm. He won it as an amateur, too.
Oh.
Once. Stud.
What a guy.
The first day on Thursday started off with 75% of the field was over par.
Oh my
God! In
God.
the first, I don't know, when everybody was teed off, it was like everybody was over par.
Were the conditions really bad?
No, it was fine. It was just really hard course. The pin locations were probably really hard. I didn't watch much of it, but yeah. And then on Sunday, Morikawa started off with a 2-stroke lead. He was 10 under, and then he birdied one, so he had a 3-stroke lead. And then on the same hole, he was in the same grouping as Russell Henley as well. I think it was 15 or 16, but he bogeyed the hole.
Oh.
And then Russell Henley chipped in for an eagle, so it was a 3-stroke swing.
Mm-hmm.
And Russell Henley gained the lead and never let it back again.
Oh.
And so he won. He made like $4 million in
For
that
that
tournament.
lead?
Uh-huh.
Oh my God.
And he won. And then we got the Players next week, which is a big tournament. I'm excited for that one.
Having an eagle on a
Sawgrass.
course like that is crazy too.
It is. It's a really good chip in. But now we got basketball.
Basketball.
Cue the music. Okay, now moving on to college basketball, we'll start with the rankings because they are actually a little different than they have been.
They are.
I want to have a moment for college basketball as well. I've got some exciting news. Go ahead with the rankings.
Okay.
Duke has moved to number 1 and Houston at number 2, making Auburn number 3 after they lost to Oklahoma. Who didn't lose?
They lost to A&M and then lost to Bama.
And Bama, yeah.
And Bama in an OT buzzer beater, which is why it's a little controversial for me for that they're 3 and not 2. Because they kind of deserve...
Right, but they lost to A&M by 9.
I know. Yeah. That's why they're number 3, I guess. That they made that decision, which makes sense.
A&M's 22.
Yeah,
Or
they're not. They probably shouldn't have lost to them. But Auburn's
Are they
still.
up? They're
If
14.
Auburn and Houston played, I would take Auburn like 7 out of 10 times.
Yeah, but, I mean...
Yeah, it's just the way the weeks have been. But
Right. They'll probably move back up. Maybe, actually. I don't actually know.
well, I don't
I
think they have time.
anticipate them
They
moving
don't
back
have.
up.
I mean, if they win the SEC tournament, I don't think rankings change with the tournaments, do they?
No.
Oh yeah, because it's not regular season.
don't think
Yeah,
so.
it's different.
But also, like, the third place ranking over the second place ranking isn't gonna affect
It doesn't matter. Yeah, there's still a 1 seed in the tournament.
Right. Florida, still 4.
Mm-hmm.
Bama's
Bama moved up to
5.
5 from 7.
St. John's is 6.
Stayed there, yeah. Michigan State 7.
Tennessee is now 8. Texas Tech is 9. Clemson's 10.
Yep, that's top 10.
That's the top 10. So
Kentucky moved all the way up to 15 after beating Mizzou. Mizzou was 15. They're now 21.
yeah.
Same record as Purdue. Purdue's 20.
Tennessee's 20. Marquette's
I feel like
25.
we're
They
better
moved
than
down.
Purdue, but Marquette, yeah, and Illinois is finally ranked again. Which
Yeah. They played over the weekend. Who'd they play? Oh, it was on
they
Friday.
beat
night.
Purdue, they beat
was
Michigan,
Saturday.
and then they beat Iowa in their 3-week,
They played
3-game
Are we
streak.
talking about Marquette? No,
Illinois.
Illinois.
Mhm.
Sorry. Louisville moved up to 13.
Let's go
Yeah,
Cards.
Louisville's still. going.
A&M moved to 14. We already said that, though.
Louisville's on a 9-game win streak. I mean, they're in the ACC, so I don't. ACC's not as strong this year, I feel like, but
But moral of the story is they have moved around a bit. So
yeah.
A few of the other major upsets, we had UConn beating Marquette. an Ole Miss beating Tennessee. And then we already talked about the Bama and Auburn and Texas A&M and Auburn. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Bama Auburn. I bet Kai is really excited about that.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was. I texted him.
The big news about college basketball is our conference championships starting next week. So, Big Ten, ACC, SEC, a lot of the minor, lower level D1 conferences already happened.
Yeah, like Lipscomb won their tournament, so they're in the.
Shut up right now. I was so excited to talk about it.
Yeah, that's. Yeah,
Lipscomb is going to ASUN, guys.
What?
The ASUN.
Oh, ASUN, yeah.
Yeah.
They won their tournament, so they're in March Madness.
I'm so excited.
They got an automatic bye.
For anybody listening, Lipscomb is my school for next year. I'm so excited. I love them. And it's been 8 years since they've been in March Madness.
8 years. Yeah, that's a long time.
So, we'll
I believe.
Yeah.
Woo!
Super cool.
Let's go Bisons!
We'll touch on the conference championships next episode, but that's all we have for college basketball. Now we're going to talk about NHL.
Cue the music!
Okay.
I suppose we could call this segment the Sawyer Speaks segment again.
That's true.
Sawyer's been speaking a lot more.
He has. He's really come out of his shell, everybody. Just kidding. I'm sorry.
The big thing in NHL was, just like we talked about the NBA trade deadline a few weeks ago, the NHL trade deadline.
Yep.
The NHL trade deadline
Just happened, so
Yeah,
a lot of
March
people moved
7th was
around.
the deadline. It was at like 2 o'clock or something.
It's like
I
in the
think.
middle of the night.
It was at 2
It was,
o'clock?
yeah, I remember it was at like 3 o'clock because me and my dad were listening to all the stuff that was happening in the car.
That was so.
Oh, it's
that's so
during the
weird.
day?
Mhm.
Wasn't the NBA's like in the middle of the night?
I don't know when it is.
I don't remember.
But the NHL was at like 2 or 3 or something like that.
That's such a random time.
And there's like all of the trades got announced like on the hour. So
Interesting.
it was a fun like time to listen to the news. But some of the bigger trades, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 little segments of
ooh.
trades and like who won or lost and stuff. I had a good time with this one.
Sawyer enjoyed himself.
So, okay, the first somewhat big one, it happened a little bit ago. It's not really a deadline trade, but it was a trade. Capo Caco went from the Rangers.
Can we take a moment for
I
that
know.
name?
Capo Caco.
Yeah, that's a good name.
Capo Caco.
Capo Caco.
There's also Capo Kakinen. He's a goalie.
Shut up.
There's another guy named Capo.
Yeah. Are they Swedish? I think they're Swedish.
Swedish.
They were in the Four Nations tournament,
Oh, okay.
so I'm pretty sure they're Swedish.
That's awesome.
But he went from New York Rangers to the Seattle Kraken.
Cracking.
Which that's kind of a big deal. He was traded for Will Borgen, who's not really that good, and a 3rd round pick and a 6th round pick. So that's not much.
Well, that kind of makes him look bad, no?
Well, the 3 things they got for him, but I think New York's also kind of in a rebuild because they're not doing so good this year, and they traded away. Oh, well, they got JT Miller. That's kind of big, which I was about to say. The Rangers acquired JT Miller from the Canucks, which JT Miller was on the Rangers for like the beginning of his career for like 6 years, and then on the Canucks for 3 years. And
On the
then
what?
On the Canucks,
What's a Canuck?
a Canadian. Yeah, it's just a word. It's like Hoosier for Indiana.
Okay.
Canuck.
But
That's hysterical. I'm a proud Canuck. Are you kidding me?
yeah, that's what they say.
I'm so sorry. I'm really just hating on an entire country right now. I'm so
No,
sorry.
we're not kidding.
I was, but I take it back.
Yeah, so the Rangers acquired JT Miller again from the Canucks for Philip Chittle. I honestly didn't know Chittle was on the Rangers. I thought he was somewhere else. Mancini and a 2025 first-round pick, which that's kind of big trade, actually. JT Miller's pretty good. And the Panthers, I'll talk about it later, too, but I think they won the whole thing, like the whole deadline. They got Seth Jones from Chicago for Spencer Knight and a 2027 first-rounder, and then Nico Sturm and a 2027 7th-rounder from the Sharks, just for a 4th-round pick, which is Nico Sturm's he's solid. He's like a fundamental player. And then they got Capo Kakinen. He's a really good goalie from the Jets. And for Chris Drieger. And then they got Brad Marchand, which is a big deal. Because Brad Marchand has been on Boston for 16 years, and he's their
Oh
captain.
my God.
He's been there for a minute,
Dang.
and then so that's big. So
Was she not
I'll
leaving?
recap on the Panthers again, but they pretty much won the whole thing. But Mikko Rantanen, he's been in multiple trades this year. He went to the Hurricanes, and that was that big 3-team. We talked about it on the podcast before. It was the 3-team
Yeah, the
deal
trade-off
where the Chicago
ended
Blackhawks
up
was paying him
for
for
it.
some reason. Yeah, and then Taylor Hall went from Chicago to where'd he go? Hurricanes. Yeah, to the Hurricanes, and that was in January. But so he's played a couple games with him, and then they mapped out another trade, and they talked about it on the news a ton, where he was going to go to Dallas.
Did that end up happening?
And it did end up happening. It took him forever to figure out some contract deal or something, but he's at Dallas now.
Okay, who is
What? Dallas Stars. Mikko
No.
Rantanen.
Mikko
that?
Rantanen.
Rantanen.
Yeah.
He's at Dallas. Okay.
Yeah, he's been on 3 teams this year.
Dang.
But
Is
so
he
Dallas
good?
he's really good. Yeah, he's really good. His skill might have gone to his head though. He's been asking for a ton of money, and that's why he's at 3 teams.
Oh.
But
Well, are they each paying him more?
I think I forget his contract. Let me look it up. Yeah, he's getting $96 million over 8 years, which for the NHL that's large. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Can you no? How does one spend $96 million?
I don't know.
Like the next
That's a
7
lot of money.
generations of his family should just all have an inheritance.
Yeah, and that's like
nothing compared to what.
you're like Shohei Ohtani. He gets that in like a week. That's a lie, but like he gets it in a month, like a year or something like that. Like
That's
his
crazy.
contract is unbelievably
I
big.
remember in like 2016 when Patrick Mahomes signed like his $400 million contract or something.
That's
like
so
that.
insane.
I don't.
So yeah, Mikko Rantanen's now at Dallas for a lot of money,
A lot of money.
which is what he was looking for, obviously. Okay, and then Charlie Coyle went to the Avalanche. The Bruins traded Charlie Coyle. Bruins are in a big like rebuild time, which is interesting because they've always been really good.
Also,
really
I
good
saw
last
that there
year.
was a Blues game over the weekend.
Yeah,
I thought you would have something to say about that. Did you watch it?
they lost in overtime, so they
Oh.
got a point. They're 7-1-3 in the last 10 though, or 7-1-2 in the last 10, which is good. They're 1 point out of the playoffs, so that's fun. Okay, so the Bruins, they traded Coyle to the Avalanche they got Middlestat and William Zellers in a second-round pick, which Middlestat's pretty solid. He's not Coyle, but he's pretty good. They were just dumping a lot of money out because Coyle is a big contract. And then what happened with Brad Marchand, that was a big deal. That was what made the deadline popular. His rumors started late in the day that like Marchand could be traded. Everybody didn't think it was going to happen. It did happening. And he's going to the Panthers.
Where are they
in
at?
Florida.
Okay.
They're in Miami. The Bruins are receiving a draft pick, and that's it. But that's a big deal because he's one of the big pieces that the Panthers just received, and they're like big favorites to win the Stanley Cup now.
Really?
Yeah, because they can have a line with Sam Bennett, Brad Marchand, and Matthew Tkachuk, which is
Kind of crap.
unbelievable. It's so much fun to watch. I can't wait for that. And Charlie Coyle on their roster. Or
When is
Charlie
the
Coyle's on
Stanley
the
Cup
Avalanche.
this year?
When is the playoffs usually start late or mid April.
Okay.
So that the addition of Brad Marchand on the Panthers puts them in the running to go back to back because they won last year, and their roster is actually crazy. I looked it up a second ago. They got Barkov, Sam Reinhart, Bobrovsky, Marchand, Sam Bennett, Ekblad, Verhaeghe, Lundell, Vanacek, Seth Jones, Nico Sturm, Forsling, Boykvist, Puljujärvi. All of those names are recognizable.
I was about to say, I
Nico
recognize
Mikkola,
some of those names, and I don't know
Rodriguez.
much about hockey.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Lisa Reinen, gosh. If they really should win the cup.
well, those stories are gonna be really good.
They're going to be very good.
How much time do they have to play before they have to play in the cup, though?
They've played 65 games-ish, around
Oh.
that. So they have, they're 82 total games.
So a lot.
So like 18 games left,
Oh, okay, I can't do that.
right? Which is, that's a decent
That's
amount.
still a good amount of games.
Yeah.
So,
The trade deadline in the NHL is really late,
yeah.
which is fine. But anyway, so the Jets, who they're at the top of the league in points right now, tied with the Capitals. the Capitals they're really good, but I don't think they're like that favored to go to the Stanley Cup. The Jets are, at least in my opinion, they should be favored more than they are too. But they traded 2 picks for Luke Schenn, who Luke Schenn was on the Predators, then he went to the Penguins, and the Penguins traded him to the Jets. And and they got Brandon Tanev for a 2nd-round pick. So I don't know how they got those 2 people for only picks, but the Jets, with the addition of Tanev, adds a ton of physicality. Because Tanev's like he's like a missile. He just hits people. It's ridiculous how he plays. And he's like really skilled, and he's a scorer, which they don't need a scorer, but if they add a scorer, I think it's them and Panthers in the Cup. And the winners of the trade deadline, in my opinion, was the Panthers, because they received Seth Jones, Nico Sturm, Kaapo Kähkönen, and Marchand for pretty cheap. And the Avalanche got Brock Nelson, which I didn't talk about that, but they got Brock Nelson and Charlie Coyle. And the losers, technically it's Vegas, because they usually do something, but they never did. And the Blues didn't do anything. Boston's rebuilding, so that's the big.
But that
points.
might be good, like if they didn't move though.
That's true, because they are playing really good. So I'm okay with them not doing anything. Yeah. But it's always fun to we never have a name player, so I would love it if we traded for a name player. As long as we keep Robert Thomas, I'm okay with what they do. And Bennington, so yeah, that's NHL.
You think Florida's now the outright to win the Cup?
Yes, Florida almost has no excuse not to win the Cup.
There you have it.
In between them and Jets.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we shall.
Okay, well, that's been all we have for episode 8. Thank you for listening. I hope you come back and listen to episode 9 next week, and I hope you have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.